Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We should be live. Let me pull the comments up. Make sure the comment section up there should be live, though. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge. We got another good letter for y'all today. I'm just gonna wait for we're gonna wait for a couple people to get in here on this Good Friday.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
As y'all come in, y'all can speak. Say how y'all feeling, how y'all doing. Gonna give it a couple moments, and then we gonna really jump right into it. We got a goodie on here today. We got a good letter. Let me make sure we up and running on
Everything.
yes, sir. Yep, say we live up there on Facebook. Should also be live on YouTube. How y'all doing? We just giving people a couple seconds to get in here. When y'all come in, say how y'all feeling, how y'all doing, how everybody Friday going. Yes, sir. Everything up there, everything active. Let's do it. How everybody doing today? Come on in. How y'all feeling? Hey, Miss Ada, thank you for tuning in today.
How you doing? Yes, sir.
We're just giving people a few more minutes. We're gonna start in the next about 30 seconds. How everybody feeling today? We got a good letter. I know I gotta keep my water with me. We got a good letter today.
Hold on. Angle this camera. Move.
How everybody doing? As y'all come in, say how y'all feeling. We just giving everybody a few moments to get on here. And we better jump right into it. How y'all feeling though? I see people joining up. How y'all feeling on this Good Friday? We got a good letter for y'all. How y'all feeling? Don't be afraid to engage in the chat.
At all. Let's get to it. Let's get into it. There we go.
Don't be afraid to engage in the chat. All right, it's about 7:12, almost 7:15. I'm ready if you want to jump right into it.
Man, let's do it, man.
Right,
As they come in, they jump into
Welcome, everybody. We back with another episode of Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge. I'm EyeAm Brand CEO, also known as Mhonte to some of you, and I have a very special guest with me again this week.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? It's Will Jenkins here again. Back at it.
Yes, sir. My mom is out of town again today, so we definitely appreciate Will for filling in, as always. Okay, so we got a good topic today. Our topic for our letter today is touched the ceiling of my sports career. Now I'm staring at a blank wall. So this is good for all my athletes out there. Anybody who, may be in a job career and may want to switch careers or switch lanes, or, maybe you had something in mind and maybe you want to, get into a different field now. I think this will be a great letter for all of you guys. So the person wrote in and said, Dear Mhonte and Will, I'm writing you guys because I feel completely lost. I know you've walked this exact path. Ever since I was 7 years old, my identity was simple. I was a basketball player. My schedule, my friend group, my self-worth, my daily purpose were all defined by the game. I put everything into my athletic career, but recently the ball stopped bouncing for me. Whether it was due to injuries, graduation, or just realizing I wasn't going to make it to the league, my time on the court is officially over. Now I'm facing a massive identity crisis and a downward spiral in my mental health. When people ask me, what do you do or who are you? I feel like a retired veteran at 22 years old. I try to get excited about traditional careers or even trading, but nothing gives me the same adrenaline rush or sense of brotherhood that being on the court did. I feel like my best days are already behind me, and the anxiety of trying to start over is keeping me up at night. As former college basketball players who transitioned from the locker room to running a business and trading in the markets, how did you guys survive the mental battle of losing your athletic identity And how do you find a new passion when one thing you love is gone? Signed, looking for my second half.
Mm.
So that's a lot to unpack right there. Like I said, should be a really good one. You want me to jump in, or you want to, give some feedback on it first? It don't matter.
First thing I say to that is, for one, being an athlete, you go through all different types of adversity. So saying that feel like you've done everything, you haven't been able to get to where you want to get to or whatever, is like, nah, now you gotta just put all of that energy and that same effort you was putting into becoming the best athlete you could. Now you just have to find a new niche. I know it's easier said than done. I've been through my own few identity crises, and I'm still currently still playing ball professionally overseas. I'm not overseas at the moment, but just waiting on that moment. But I've had times where breaks in college, a couple gap years in my professional career, and yeah, at times I thought about putting the ball down, but it's just also about like it's really like more so what you want out of it for real. And I'm not saying just in the sports term, but when you gotta have that same mindset when you flip into, as most people say, like the real world or like the civilian world. But I wouldn't say just instantly feel like a veteran right away. Kind of just like, for one, sound like they definitely need to increase. I don't know how they are religious wise or anything, but I would just say definitely like increase your faith, start praying more on it, because that's not a battle you can just beat with your own self, believe it or not. Like, you're gonna have to talk to God and let him guide you through them next steps.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree, and I think that's a great point as well. Well, of course, talk to God, find someone in your life that you can sit down and talk to, maybe some of your teammates or former coaches or former teammates who may have graduated. I mean, reach out to, first and foremost, those groups of people to ask them for assistance, like what you guys doing now, or how were you guys able to navigate at the you graduated or you put the ball down, stuff like that. And I would also just give the advice that I would feel like it's two types of people when it comes to sports and things like that, and neither one is bad. I would say the first type would either be your plan B is your plan A, so like you don't really have a plan B because you're just going all in, and that's how
Yeah.
most people look at it. Like, I'm putting all my eggs in this one basket, like I'm putting everything on it. Hi, thank you for tuning in today. Um,
What's going on? How
but
you
yeah, and the
doing?
second person, the second person is what I would recommend. Um, Not necessarily saying you're not putting your all into your sport or whatever your craft is. Hey, Stay, thank you for tuning in. Not
What's going
necessarily
on, Stay?
saying you're not putting your all into whatever your craft is, but just knowing that if you are an athlete, no matter what the sport is, you could be playing, tennis, you could be a swimmer, you could be playing golf, basketball, no matter what the sport is, at some given day, that's you playing the game will eventually stop, or you playing, your sport will eventually stop. So I will always have a set plan, or like start working on a plan that you can put in play whenever that day is to come, whether it's, God forbid, by injury, or you just happen to move along, or maybe you did graduate or just didn't make it to the next level. So I would say, just start putting together a plan for things that you want to do. If you're saying that all your life all you really know is eat, sleep, shit, basketball, then maybe you want to look into coaching, training. I recently just opened up EyeAm Elite basketball training for kids of all ages, college players, pro players who want to train with me down here in Houston, Texas. And I actually had a few people reach out to me this week to sign up for training. So it's just something that the game of basketball will always be in us. And if you're a football player, whatever your sport is, I mean, like you said, it's kind of in our blood. Like, it's always going to be around. We always going to love the game. And it is always,
Sure.
me being a former athlete, I will say it is always, that empty spot in the back. I mean, I talk to Will all the time throughout the week, and as I'm just at the court playing around regular pickup games, I'm just like, man, I want to get back out there. Like, that's just something that I always be saying and stuff. And I feel like a lot of players do, not necessarily meaning like, oh, I'm about to go try to be pro again, but it's just something that we always care and always to have a love for. So in order to stay around the game, I do things like that. I go play open gym. I train other kids and other players in order to help them and impact them as well. So I feel like being able to impact others, rather you just training, or rather you're coaching, or even if you're just going out doing mentorships or speaking engagement, things like that, just to other players. I feel like that's something that will kind of fill that void of not being on the court no more, at least for me.
No, definitely, bro. And it's like it's kind of that one. That's that competitive edge that has people like still wanting to hoop. There's people I know who haven't played even finish college basketball, and they still train all the time. Like they about to go across the waters, about to do whatever X, Y, and Z right away. And I would tell that person who sent that letter, for one, I appreciate you even being vulnerable, because I know that was even tough for you to sit there and type and send that. And there's definitely like we can relate to that, because again, we've both had those times, and we know plenty of people who've had those times where yes, you have to put the ball down. Even for me, I know at some point I have to put the ball down. I right now have a belief that I started running with in 2024 called "Keep the main thing." And I still do that, but I also do, as he was saying earlier, between the first and second person is I slide more towards the second person. Like, yes, I'm full throttle into basketball and making that work, but I also do realize that, especially having a family now, that there's a time where the ball has to be put down, and I got to figure it out. And then for guys, for some people who may not know, for like people who play overseas, depending on what your range of your contracts and everything is, you're gone for X amount of months, and then when you come back home, technically, well, not technically, I'm unemployed. Like when I come home and land in the States, I don't have a job. The money is still coming in, so it's like I got to figure out ways to keep something else going on, so that way it's not just dependent on that. Because when it stops, then I don't want to be in a. I already know I'm probably gonna be in an identity crisis. That's nothing I can't stop, but I don't want to be in a whole another hole of like, dang, now I need to figure this out even more. I have no way to even provide. So I would definitely say that. And then also with you graduating, I don't know if they're on the call or not, but if they do get the chance to watch this, what is your degree in? Start seeing if you actually can find careers in your degree. Start seeing, like, just reaching out to people. Nothing wrong with getting on Indeed and figuring things out. Like a little background of us, and I'll let Tate dive into it more. But we both had bachelor's degrees, moved to Houston. We're trying to figure things out. At this time, I didn't have a contract, and we were doing delivery jobs, like literally doing delivery jobs, taking both of our own vehicles and doing delivery jobs. Why? Because we still needed to pay the rent that we were staying in, and them lights had to be on. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta take that sacrifice, and then like it's a humble beginning, but it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, no, couldn't have said it no better. Literally, definitely an identity crisis. I've been times for several different reasons that either one of us wasn't able to be on the court, especially during college, and for Will even after college. And it definitely like is kind of have you just sit there look for a second and just like, wow, like is this really over? Like could it be done, or like what's the next move? So I mean, you're always going to be kind of thinking and thinking a little bit. And like he said, we literally both graduated with bachelor's degrees. Like I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, he has a bachelor's degree in finance, and we trying to figure out like, okay, until this next contract come, or until I figure out, this next coaching or next training position, like what are we gonna do? Like all we looking for my second half set in the letter, all we really known our entire lives since childhood is playing sports. So we like, wow, now we got to get out here and figure out, what's going on in the business world and stuff like that. And it is kind of scary, but at the same time, like Will said, life goes on. Like nobody's going to sit there and say, well, we'll give you 90 days to pay your rent because we know you were an athlete, so we'll give you some time. Like, no, you got to get out here and figure it out. So that's why you have people like, me and Will, and people like I said, your former teammates, reach out to them, ask them for assistance. Your coaches, like I mean, I would just say one thing I learned from being a part of a sports organization and a part of sports teams all our lives. I would say like being an athlete, you have a village. Like no matter if I played with people in AAU basketball, if I played with people in middle school, high school basketball, college, even my coaches and things like that. Like you always can reach out to so many different people and say, "Hey, coach, I'm struggling in this area," or "Hey, this is my team captain. You think you got any advice for me, or what should my next steps be?" So I would definitely recommend that you utilize your village, and reach out to some of your former teammates, former coaches, and things like that. Um, and as far as just, I noticed that they
Definitely.
also
My
said in the letter.
apologies. Somebody kept trying. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. You okay? I noticed that somebody in the letter. I mean, noticed that in the letter they were
Oh yeah,
saying
my
that,
bad.
you can hear me fine.
Yeah, I'm good. Somebody had tried to call me back to back times, and I had to hang it up. My bad, y'all.
Oh no, you cool. It just had your screen just had went like if you would have clicked off the screen, but we still can hear you and everything, so you cool. But yeah, they were saying that
Okay.
basically they
There
had
you
a
go.
lot of anxiety from trying to start over, and it's keeping them up at night and stuff like that. So you being an athlete, currently a professional athlete, do you ever get anxiety, whether it's before a game or before you wait while you're waiting on the big contract or your next big offer, or even sometimes when you got to come back to the United States and have these I wouldn't even say long periods, but just extensive periods of times where you know, like, okay, I'm waiting for the next season, or you know, will a coach reach out to me again? And like you said, you being a new dad and everything, like, just touch on a little bit of that. Like, do you get anxiety as a pro athlete, and if so, where does it come from, and how do you deal with it?
I'll say I get anxiety in all of those different ways. For one, when I had those gap years or times where I'm waiting, where I say the first longest time I had to wait, I went to a country called Armenia in 2020 of September. I left there in December. I didn't go back overseas till November of 2021. So you think about 11 months span, and I'm sitting there. I'm still training. I had a time where I wasn't really drilling the ball. I had a friend tell me like, "Bro, you gotta get back in shape. Got back in shape. Everything." The anxiety of like, will it still work? Hit me then. Um, the anxiety of when you get ready for like, and for me, the anxiety of like getting prepared for games or like going through the process of like scouting or anything like that. That anxiety I've learned to like control because it's more so like a anxious, like yes, I'm ready to play, like I'm happy, but it's like a nervous competitive thing of like I want to do so good that I don't want to mess up, but it's also like you gonna mess up like regardless. And nobody ever played a perfect game. It's not like that. And then definitely the anxiety of like when I get back home. Pretty sure every time I got off that plane, it was like that rush of like, yes, get to see the family. I'm home, good, everything cool, and back on U.S. soil. But it's also like, what's next? Like, what's really going
Yeah,
on next?
that's
And
that's
then
that's another thing I was gonna ask you too. So like, does your anxiety or do the anxiety like creep up on you or affect you differently because you play in different countries? So like, let's say you're going to Europe to go play, and now you're like, wow, I just was in Armenia, or Australia or something like that, and now you're going to a completely different country. So every time you see like these new teammates, hear people talk new languages, you walk into the new gyms, like, do you get a surreal feeling each time, or do you like have a chip on your shoulder where like I gotta prove to these guys I'm meant to
yes,
be here, or do you just go in every time like it's a reason that that God even put me here?
it's a mixture for because like for me, I'm really like a team player. So like when I get into these different countries, first I'm trying to like one, I'm trying to learn the guys off the court, see their energy because like a lot of your off the court tendencies kind of show how you will be on the court. And then when I'm on the court, I'm playing and I'm trying to like feel things out, figure out what my best role to be. Sometimes that's as this for all you athletes. Sometimes trying to wait to figure out everybody else can kind of withstand from what you're trying to get done. So just take heed to that. But yeah, so for me, it's like I kind of get in there and I try to like mesh in well and feel the vibe out and everything, and then you just go from like you have your certain group of guys that you connect with more. That's on any team, any business, any company, and pretty sure it's like that. So yeah, definitely that. Like, it's just a mixture of all of that, and it's also just like that's a real feeling of like, all right, take it all in, enjoy it. I'll say that first like month or so, it'd be like, all right, ooh, ooh, and then now you look at it, you about 2 months in, you getting ready for the season, the preseason over. It's like, all right, let's really dial in, let's lock in, because now it's time to like you said, show why I'm here and make it count. Because end of the day, you always going for the next contract.
And I do have I ain't gonna lie, I got a couple of questions. I feel like we're not even in a podcast. These are just my personal questions, honestly. But
Come on with it.
just relating it to the letter, like, did you ever have any identity crisis or anything? Because like you just a regular college basketball player. Like, you a CIAA champion, defensive player of the year. So like your last year in college when you was graduating, did you have any identity crisis, or did you have any like anxiety of like what's gonna happen next? Where's my like where's this contract gonna come from? I hope somebody reaches out. Um, and yeah.
100%. So for one, I'll go a little bit further back, then I'll dive into that year as well. So for me, we graduated high school in 2015. I didn't graduate college till 2020. My first college I went to was a school in New York, and I was there for a semester, not really understanding like being a student athlete. I was thinking just be an athlete. Ended up getting sent home, got home, was doing things I didn't have no business doing, and then really started questioning like, is this for me? Like, should I keep hooping? I didn't touch a ball. I got home in December. I didn't touch a ball until like March or April one day, just sitting at the course or something. I was like, bro, wasn't you just like first team all Metro? You need hoop no more? And I'm like, hold on, bro. Like at this time, this was the era like I always had jeans. I mean, shorts under my jeans. I'm like, bro, I still get to it. Like we can hoop right there. And one of our cousins who just recently passed early this year, rest in peace, my man. He literally sat and told me, he's like, nah, bro, you gotta get back to hooping. Like this will all still be here. And then a month later, I ended up committing to Virginia Union. That worked out for me. Things go well for me them 3 years. Then it was supposed to be my junior year at Union, but it ended up being my senior year. I ended up, like you said, defensive player of the year, second team All American. A lot of accolades happened that year. And my coach, I remember literally sitting me in the end of the season meeting. He's like, "Yeah, man, we pushing for the NCAA to get you this year back because we got the Capital City Go G League team asking about you because they hear like, oh, we got a year back. This guy doing this. Like, let's see what he got." And then I found out I want to say like the beginning of May, maybe around that in that year. That was 2019. That I wouldn't have another year. So then we tried to appeal for it again in September. That didn't work. And my mindset, I was trying to go right overseas after that. I was like, all right, I'm about to just go right overseas while my name's still hot. Like, let's get it done. But
Yeah,
then my father, shout out to him for being, like shout out to parents who actually like, install like what really matters. Just go back to the beginning of the podcast we was talking about. He's telling me like, listen, I understand what you're saying about basketball, but at the end of the day, one day the ball gotta go down. Go finish them last 35 credits and get your degree. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I didn't want to do it. We had a little back and forth for like a month. And then that's when I just finally told him, like, all right, I'm enrolled and go ahead, take some loans out and finish school. And during that time, it was very tough. Playing, I went in there, we'll go in there, hoop with them in open gyms, preseason, everything, still killing. And they're like, bro, you going to be on the team this year, this and that. And I'm not really telling them because we still doing the appeal. And my coach didn't want to say too much and had them thinking I'm coming back. But it was
yeah.
definitely, that was probably the pro times is like I understood what was going on, but that was probably the toughest time for me because I was literally at like the highlight of like everything I went through from supposed to go D1, ended up high D2, did what I'm doing, and I just knew like, oh, this next year I'm about to go for player of the year. I just want to defense player of the year doing this. And then yeah, that was like a real humbling thing of like actually having to be just a student. Like God really was showing me like, nah, I just want you to just focus on this real quick. And it was tough for sure. And it's like, ended up having the agent, things worked out later down the road. COVID hit as well. So now we in the house. So I'm in the house with my own thoughts even more. So yeah,
No,
yeah, it
people
was
be
definitely a
forgetting
tough
about
time.
COVID, but no, definitely COVID was around that time for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough time. But overall, I say that was one of the things that like built that extra toughness in my mind of like you can really do what you put your mind to. Like, didn't nobody want to go. What's going on, Mill? Don't
What's up,
nobody want
Mel?
to go from doing this to doing that, and then having to like really have no choice. Like, it wasn't like oh yeah, I'm doing this just so I can get ready for practice. Like, it's no, you're gonna go to these classes and you're gonna go be a regular student and figure out what you're gonna do for the rest of your day. So yeah, it was definitely, and then actually at this time I was even doing work study. So I was like being at like the volleyball games, helping them, being at like certain little games, helping them out, and being around the gym and people still asking, and having to sit and swallow your pride and not just try to ignore it, let people know. It was tough. It was definitely tough, but it was like I needed that. I feel like I needed that as part of my journey to really like settle myself down. I was like, maybe I was a little too high on myself, and it was like I was like, remember, you can be at the top of the mountain and fall right back down.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely glad you being transparent so everybody can hear this because, like you said, a lot of the stuff that happens, like you won't really understand it until you going through it. But at the end of the day, you like, dang, I definitely did need that. And anybody that's in the chat, even if y'all not athletes or if you were an athlete, I know my guy Mill in here, like y'all can touch on a little bit. How was it, the last time you stepped off that field or the last time you stepped off the court and was think you were this is I play football, like I'm a football player, I'm a basketball player, and if you're not an athlete and you on here, is there anybody who was going in one direction as far as a career? Hey, I want to be a nurse, I want to be an LPC, I want to be this, and then maybe a year later or a couple months later you end up going in a different direction. Like y'all can talk about that in the chat a little bit. Like how was that for some of you guys? And just as far as you will, one another thing about like you being a pro basketball player and everything, do you feel any like, especially with having your own family now, do you feel any like weight on your shoulder or pressure necessarily where it's like when you come back home people are looking at you as like, yeah, this the pro athlete, like this the ticket, and even not necessarily your immediate family but even like maybe some of your friends from high school, college teammates, or distant family members that's like that I know Will got it's like he gonna make it. Do you have any thoughts like that, like these people back home are dependent on me?
I definitely have those thoughts. I've been having those thoughts for a while, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I remember us all being like 14, 15. I remember my first time saying like I'm gonna be a professional basketball player. I was one of those people who like I've been foreseeing a lot of things that go on now. I just didn't know how they were gonna transpire, of course, because we don't know. But I
Yeah,
remember vividly saying like I was gonna go overseas. Everybody's like, oh, sometimes, even family members that don't really know ball, they see a highlight or something like, you need to be in the NBA, this and that. I was like, nah, I've always knew overseas. And one, it's a lot of young dudes that's just as good, if not better than me, that's jumping out of the gym and doing all crazy things. But then, yeah, for sure, I come home and it's like, times, work tough, everything going on. You call yourself working out, your body hurt, but it's like, that one day I sit down and don't get in this lab and work on this or do this recovery. Somebody
Somebody
on the
else,
other side of
it
the
works.
country or somebody, yeah, like we knew this
Yeah.
is 8 days. They like, why you not doing it? Somebody else doing it. So it's like, I gotta do it. Like it's no question about it. And yeah, I feel that weight, but it's also like with the plans I have to like how I want to put my family and myself in a position to be better. It's like I have to, yeah, like I said, I have to make it work. So that's what keeps me still going. And then when you have a support system, like shout out to my woman and the mother of my child, for her to be how she is and say like she wanted me to go and still go overseas, it's like that put that extra fuel under my fire. It was like, oh, all right, well, let's do it. Like that's all you had to say. Like I already was going to get into it, but now it's like, why not? Like it's even more of a reason. So yeah, I definitely feel that weight, but it's like it's not a bad weight. Like it's not one of them things where like people be like where they feel resentful, like I didn't want to be in this position. I always looked at myself as like that person in my family of like I gotta do something different. Like a lot of things I even did. Like one of the first people graduating, especially from the HBCU, shout out Virginia Union. One of the first people, I think I might be the only family member I know that plays like that. I made it to play professional that I know of. But needless to say, it's just like even having those conversations and then having those different type of dialogues and understanding like still being humble. I think that's probably like the best part of it. Is like, yeah, you know who you are. Like I just had a wedding for one of my cousins on my mother's side last Sunday, and one of my aunts, we were checking and told us certain things. She tells the lady at the check-in, she's like, oh yeah, he's a famous basketball player. She's like, really? I say, yeah, I play overseas. I wasn't saying famous though, but it's like when you hear those type of things, you kind of look like, dang, like I ain't think y'all even still looked at it like that. So it
Yeah,
just
that's how
like
they
it's
looking
like
at
that
it.
little
Yeah.
pressure. Yeah, so it's like that little pressure of like, all right, I gotta make it count. Like I can be like, but it's good though. Like I love it though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, no, that's funny you said that. I definitely want to definitely rest in peace our cousin, my man. I know he looking down watching this right now, probably laughing and smiling with us. And rest in peace to
For sure.
my great grandmother, actually the person who always she'll text my mother and be like, I think I just seen Mhonte on TV. And my mother would be like, Grandma, that's not Mhonte. Like, cause I did play one of my games was broadcasted on TV one time and she watched me. So ever since then, anytime she see basketball players or like a high school game on or a college game, she'll just be like, was you on TV? Like I was like, Grandma, that's not me on TV. But yeah, they really, look at like, we superstars. Like you said, the first people, in our family to go to college and be college athletes and get all of the gear and you going out the country and you going to different states to travel just to play sports. So I really feel like and another thing I just want to throw in there real quick, like being an athlete your whole life, like that's it. You do become that dude does become who you are. But it's like we get to experience so many different experiences from kids to adults, and we can thank basketball for all of it. So I'm definitely grateful for it. Um, and just to go back to the letter real fast, they was asking, they said, so as former college basketball players who transitioned from the locker room to running a business, like how do we survive the mental health battle? I would just give a little bit of my backstory. So I initially did go to a school in Pennsylvania to play basketball. And I thought I was better than the majority of people on the team. Of course, like other athletes, I didn't think the coach was, giving me a fair shot, whatever that case may be. Like, you know how that go. But I started, playing, thinking I'm about to get in the game, thinking I'm about to get in the game. Played the first half of the season, did pretty well. Second half of the season, I ended up on academic probation. And then once I came back off from academic probation, I just don't think the coach really was, failing me, or he just wasn't giving me a lot of playing time. So that will mess with your head, and just the same way as an injury will, if a coach is not putting you in, or you feel like you have more potential to show and things like that. All of that does become a huge mental battle. And I tell people all the time, like my sophomore year, I didn't even play basketball at all just because I felt so discouraged because I'm like, me and Will had just played in the B More Hoops All Star game, which is like the top 25 players in our class in the city of Baltimore, like where we from and everything like that. We both got offered at the same time to go to a Division II school in New York. So it was like I'm thinking stuff is about to go uphill. Then I get to college and it's not Like I'm doing everything I need to be doing. I'm working out. I'm in the gym at midnight. I'm the only one in there getting up shots. I'm up early. I'm going to all my classes, my weight training, stuff like that. And it's not translating on the court, or coach not even giving me a shot to translate it on the court. So that did have me in like a complete slump. So literally what I did was I just ordered a PlayStation 3. I think at the time I ordered a PS3 offline, got it sent up to my dorms, and every day at the class I would just stop at the cafeteria, and I would just pick up my food and go in my dorm, do my homework, eat my food. I would get 2 meals. I would get one for lunch and I would get one for later on in the day. So I didn't have to leave my room at all. The whole semester I was doing that every time, and I just was sitting in my dorm room playing GTA. And I'm sitting in there and I'm like, some days I go in my room and be crying just about basketball or something. Then I start looking down, I'm like, bro, I really love this game. Like I start thinking about, growing up, like I said, all the different experiences we had, all the different states and stuff that, basketball was able to, take us and show us like the whole journey and everything. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let one coach just, let it all go away just because he didn't, not put me in the game and stuff like that. Like I know the player I am, I know the person I am, I know how much I work for this. So I just like I said, reach out to somebody who you can talk to. I happen to have my roommate right there. He was kind of seeing me go through it, like knowing how I used to be in the gym at midnight, working out, how, competitive I was and stuff like that. Like, bro, you better not have the people on the team. Like, what you mean you're not playing this year? So when he started seeing that, he basically started, putting a little positivity in my ear. So I started reaching out to coaches. I just created like an email, and I probably sent that email out to like 50 different coaches, just saying like who I am. I'm a, 6'3" forward from Baltimore, Maryland. I played at, this school here. I'm looking to transfer. And then coaches was responding to me. So I just took it upon myself to say that, my journey doesn't end here. Like I do want to continue to play basketball. We put blood, sweat, and tears to this, so I'm gonna keep doing it. And reaching out to those coaches, they was, hitting me back saying, hey, we either team is full, we appreciate you reaching out, or, we would love for you to come up so we can see you play or send us some film. Like they was reaching back out to me and stuff. And that's what initially landed me at Penn State University, where I finished out my last 2 years and was able to play basketball as a college athlete and essentially get a Penn State degree. So I will say, being a college athlete itself, even if you are getting playing time, anything like that, you still want to go through mental battles. So I definitely think you need to have a good support system on your side, and people that can bring you up in times like that when you are down. We got a couple comments. I'm gonna just go to the comments real quick, and then you
So
can chime in if you want.
yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna tackle a couple things. I got a good question for you about that. But yeah, let's see. Neil said, for me mentally, I was crushed because I suffered a severe injury that changed the trajectory of where I thought I was going in my life, and all I knew was football. So it was definitely very eye opening. See, yeah, things like that. It's like that's out of your control. Like that's out of your control. And I remember at this time, I want to say Mill went to JUCO in Kansas.
Yeah, I
So
remember that
like,
too.
yeah, so being there, you preparing to JUCO. Most guys go JUCO. They instantly like, their goal is go D1. You having this going on. Mill was real good at football. I do remember that. Like he was playing varsity, I
A
think,
dog out
since
there.
like 10th grade. Yeah, defensive line. So to go from that and then having to actually like pivot to something different, it's like, yeah, I couldn't imagine, bro. And that's another thing that God willing, like I just never went through one of those type of injuries. And for those people who do and still bounce back or go into a different lane, I get the utmost respect for it because I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, we definitely understand. Hey, Grandpa Reg, thank you for tuning in. He said, hello, panel and guests. Yes, your grandmother would always tell me she saw Mhonte playing basketball. Every time I'm
Hey,
telling you, can't make this
hey,
up.
proof is
Every
in the
time
pudding,
grandma always want to see me play basketball. Every time. So I'm glad she was able to see me play before she got to go. Um,
man.
Be right. He said, "What's up, fam? It's definitely tough on your mental when you got to pivot in another direction, but a lot of things like that depends on God's timing and your willingness to keep moving forward." I'm gonna leave that up. I'm gonna leave that comment up there for a little while. I'm not gonna lie. That's great words right there, Brandon. We definitely
Yeah,
appreciate that. Definitely on God's timing and like you said, your willingness to keep moving forward. Like I could have sat there and kept playing the game, kept just going to the cafeteria, getting chicken tenders with cheese and fries and sodas and stuff like that. And I was like, no, my journey doesn't end here. It's thousands of other colleges out here in the United States. I'm gonna reach out to them, and if I gotta go to another state to play, if I gotta, do whatever I gotta do to get back on that court to display my talent and fulfill my own happiness of playing college basketball and what I told myself I was gonna do. That's what I ended up doing. So we definitely appreciate
man.
that for sure.
Before we go anywhere, just tackle back to that. I want to vividly remember that year. Like I remember you hitting the group chat and telling us, like, "Yeah, bro, I'm trying to get back to it. This is that." And I'm like, "Bro, you have to." Like we put too much grind, blood, sweat, and tears to just hang it up
Yeah,
right then and
sir.
there. And then Question for you, just to touch on the mental health aspect. Would you say during that that semester that you went through depression?
Um, I would say I would have to say I definitely did go through depression. I would say at that time I don't know if I even knew what depression was, but I know it's never been a time where
Hmm.
one, I went to college at 17 years old, so I still was technically a kid with a lot of responsibility. I went to college out of state, so it's not like I was in Maryland or around my mom and stuff like that. And even though I could pick up the phone and always call my mom, once you get to college and you start to get on your own, it's something in your head that's telling you like, I know I got my mom and the support system back home, but some things I got to figure out on my own. Like I can't just keep, calling my
100%.
every time. Like I'm gonna figure this one out myself. So I definitely would say I went through a depression. Like I never, like I said, I literally brought a video game system. It's not like I just was in school and I had a video game and I just would play it sometimes. Like no, I never used to play the video game and stuff like that. And then that turned to something that I was doing for all the time. Like I didn't even want to leave out my dorm room to go be around people. I didn't want to party, nothing like that. And I didn't know that this was my routine, but it became my routine for almost a whole semester, maybe even two straight semesters, like a full year until I got to almost the end of my sophomore year. And then I was like, man, it can't be over with yet. Like it's no way this is it right here. Like I'm still nice. I still could hoop. Like I'm better than half the people on my team now. Like I gotta figure something else out. So like Brandon said, I'm definitely, it was God's timing. And I'm glad I was able to, get a degree from one of the most prestigious schools in the United States from it. But to answer your question, I definitely would say, unknowingly, I did probably go through, athlete's depression at that time. And a lot of people go through it. I know on me and your podcast specifically, EyeAm Mental Health podcast, people can go back and watch that as well. We have a close friend who we grew up with in high school, Haywood Highsmith. Y'all played against each other in college. I played with him in high school, and he currently played for the Phoenix Suns. Um, and he was telling us how when he was in the G League before he moved up to the NBA, how he had to go see like a psychiatrist while he was on the team. He had to go
Yeah,
see a
he had to go
therapist,
see
a
a
sports
therapist for
therapist. Yeah,
sure.
a sports therapist. So that kind of was eye opening to us because we didn't even know that. Of course, we know sports therapy is a thing. Like they have sports therapists, but we've never had somebody who's like our friend from back home, Baltimore, Maryland. Like we can reach out to at any time, sit there and say, yeah, I kind of went through sports athletes depression. So athletes depression is real. And even if you're not an athlete, like I said, being just having to pivot into a whole nother field or career, whether it was your decision or whether it was unknowingly or you just was forced into it and had to. Like Will said, COVID happened, a lot of people lost their jobs, they probably had to go into different things like that. So I definitely know a lot of people deal with stuff like this. So I'm glad that we able to touch on this topic and give some of our feedback. We got another comment from Mill. Mill said, I lost offers and everything. So, yeah, it was certainly a mental battle as an athlete. But on the flip side, it also prepared me to deal with adversity. Sports builds character. Yo, y'all ain't gonna lie. Y'all alone one today in the comments. I ain't gonna lie. That's definitely
Nah, for
sports
sure.
definitely
That's probably
builds
one of the
character.
realest. What? Yes, it do.
Sports definitely
Sports,
builds character. It will show you how to get through
bro.
that adversity.
Character, discipline, structure, all them three. I feel like sports definitely like it gets you that for sure, bro. And then
You
even
want
going
to
through
you
like,
want to touch on a little bit of how like sports going through sports adversity can help you get through life adversity. Like just tell the people a little bit, like you said,
oh
me and Will
yeah,
both moved to Houston, Texas after we had graduated. He moved a year after me, and we both had bachelor's degrees. So we thinking like, we about to be out here making X amount of dollars per year, and that wasn't the case. So just touch on a little bit how we had bachelor's degrees and was out here doing delivery jobs together, and then two, you being a pro athlete, how you had to still having a degree, come back home and seek additional certifications and get out here into the work field.
yeah, for sure.
I'm about
So
to say real quick before I ain't mean to cut you off, but that's why we
go
tapped into
ahead.
recruiting because we like we don't want to be at no 9 to 5 all day. Like we athletes, like we don't want to be at a 9 to 5. We got degrees. Like I mean we understand it's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, but that's how we essentially got into the trading because we're like, okay, we can make money on our own doing this. So how did it kind of feel or hit you, or what was your experience when it's like, dang, I gotta go get more certifications to get into this job field, and I might necessarily might look into a job that might not even be with the degree I have, but just knowing that life moves on and we got to figure something out. Like, how was that?
Oh yeah. So for one, first, I would consider myself. I've been getting out of it more these days now, but I am a lazy hustler. Like I like the hustle and grind, but I am lazy. So
Man, so the
to sit
lazy
there and
guy.
be on the phone and be like, try to just make
I would
money. That
just
was
say a
cool for
smart
me for
hustler,
sure,
bro.
bro.
I ain't gonna say a lazy hustler. We just like to
Yeah,
work smarter rather
yeah. I
than
wouldn't say
harder.
lazy. I just had a real battle with procrastination. I would say that. I wouldn't say lazy. I just had a real battle with procrastination for sure. So moving to Houston, what 2021, and what was that? April time frame. Sat there, had to
Sure.
deal with that for 7 months before I went overseas. Mind you, I'm in my new apartment. I couldn't just grab everything and move out. Still having to learn how to pay bills there,
And, and
and
like I was
then
saying,
still
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Oh no, I was just saying, still learned how to pay bills there, and deal like so. That's another whole sports adversity. I didn't even think about this. I was paying rent still to keep a roof over my head in Houston, while still being in another country in Luxembourg, and trying to execute that and making like, all right, I got to get this to work so this can still be paid for, and then I can get here. So having to go through that, and then I was making this type of money. Then my next offer, and again, for anybody athlete that's listening, sometimes you gotta take that sacrifice when it comes to like offers and like price range and everything. So my next offer was in a better league, but for lesser money. And I was like, oh, how that work? Like me and my agent had almost got into it. My agent at that time almost got into it, everything.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I just did this. I just got this team from second division here to the first division in the last 5 years. You telling me go here for less money? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So me not doing that started that first gap year. So from May 2022 to March 2023, I was home. I had did delivery job. I did a moving job. What else did I do?
and while you bringing that up, that's what I was about to jump in and say. While we doing delivery and moving, like while we doing odds and end jobs, trying to find 9 to 5s until we can get into our actual career. Like I said, we was in college, and you got that support system. Like I don't want to call my mom, or I don't want to call my dad and ask for help and stuff like that. It's the same way when you move to a new state. So now we got degrees, and like he said, we done been down here half a year, almost a year, and we sitting here like, I mean, I know my mother looking like, what's going on down there? Like our parents study,
Nah, for
y'all
real.
got
You what,
degrees.
25, 26? I
What's
wish I would
going
have come
on?
from like, hey man, it's a little, times I had to have them talks. It's like, man, it's a little tough. This is like, well, you wanted to be down there so bad, man. You better figure it out. So it's like
Yeah,
that was
we
what's
seeing
going on
friends
for
that
real.
moved out of state, moved back in with
Yeah,
their parents and
bro.
stuff.
Trying
And
to. Oh
like I
yeah,
said,
and that
it's
was the thing for me, and like, well, both of us really like. I was so proudful on like when I even got to get like once I packed my bags and got out there for college. I
yeah,
told myself like, I'm not coming back. I love y'all.
moving
I'm gonna
back
come back and
wasn't
visit
an
as much as
option.
I'm not. It's not an option. It's still not an option. Like I just can't do it, and there's nothing wrong with it for anybody who do that. And like had to get that reset. We all got our
Yeah,
own different
not at
journeys,
all.
but that's just how us two always felt, and that's
Yeah,
why
not
we
at,
was like, and
and
because
it's
a lot of people
always
do that, especially now today with the economy. It's like, hey, I understand if you got to, because
yeah.
sometimes you need that
That's what I
reset.
was gonna say too. Like it's good to have that, support system. Like I'm glad that God did put you in a direction to, bring you down as my neighbor, because God knows shit. I needed you just as much as you needed me. Like I feel like during that time
Man,
really needed each other. Like it was so much going on, and we like, bro, my
but I
car.
couldn't imagine doing that.
We
Like
take your car. Like it was so much
just
going.
us two by the man, car breaking down. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
So come back. What was that?
You can't just call mommy and be like, hey, you got some sugar I can use? Nah, ain't no calling mommy or auntie or none of
Man,
that. Here by ourselves.
car breaking down, catching Ubers, trying to get jobs. Then I go to
Now,
what Australia 2023.
and like
Go
Will said,
there,
this
come
is the
back.
pride that me and him had. Like if I had to go and tell somebody who to do it over again right now, tell somebody who was in my shoes or looking to move out of state or something like that at a young age, I have told people this before, people that's close to me also. Like I'll let them know. They'll ask me like, bro, I want to move to Houston, I want to move to LA, I want to move to Atlanta. Like you think I should move out of state? My answer automatically is no, unless you have the finances to do it and you're ready to move. I always tell them no, because even though that's the leap that we both took, that's just we knew the type of people we were. We know that if you put us in the woods, we gonna come out with a animal coats on and stuff. Like we gonna figure out a way. Especially if we got
Telling
each other side by side. So I definitely wouldn't. We not looking down on nobody who do have to move back or anything like that. I think it's even smarter if you do stay with your parent or whoever you need to stay with until you financially ready to move out, mentally ready, spiritually ready, everything. We just happen to. I mean, it kind of was dumb of us to take that leap of faith and jump out there. I don't know. My mom, she wasn't necessarily, didn't want me to do it, I would say, but she know her son who she raised, and she knew, I would figure out a way to get it done, and I've done just that. So
I
Definitely,
say my mother did. I tell you that she definitely. She's like, "Why you gonna move all the way down there?"
oh,
I
wait, in
said, "I'm about to be
Texas.
right next to Jay. Like, I'm about to
Yeah,
figure that
they
out
like
with him." She's like,
moving to
"Yeah,
DC or we just moving to Pennsylvania.
man. Let's
Now,
get into that comment real quick
across the
before we get
world.
too far away."
That's
He
Brandon. He said,
said, "I can."
I commend y'all fellas because a lot of men specifically go through athletic trauma, and to be honest, you really need a great group of guys around you because we can be our own worst enemy at times. So shout out to y'all in the group chat for keeping each other motivated and pushing through life. Yes, sir. That's what it's all about, man. That's why I got into
Yeah,
psychology to, learn how people move the way they move and things like that. And when you in this field and talking about things like this, I definitely do think that, it takes a village. Like you need a group of people around you. And if you feel like you don't have a good group of people around you, it can get tough. So I'm definitely glad that, God blessed me with people in my life who I can reach out to and be vulnerable or ask for advice when I need to.
no, 100%, bro, for sure. That and speaking of like having to get like step in different lanes, there was a time in 2024 I had just got back to Houston. At this time, I was like essentially under the table of Airbnb in my place out. I was staying with you, and he was like, "Bro, you might as well get your QMHP license." So I grabbed that, and doing that with the few clients I had, I think that put me in an even more like mindset of like, man, my problem, not saying my problems are small compared to other people's, because obviously I look at them as a bigger view than most would. But my few problems I'm having is like, man, it is what it is. Like, I'm gonna figure that out. Like, I just gotta keep going. I'm healthy, I'm able to get up, I'm able bodied. Like, these things I pray about every day. And there's people here who tell you like who were born with these challenges that they can't control, and me being a qualified mental health professional, learning how to try to talk to them and seeing you still do it, what, about 5, 6 years now, like,
Yeah,
it
I probably
really
been here
shows.
about 6 years, 5 years, basically.
Yeah, and it really shows. It's like that's just one of those humbling things where it's like, it's like a sense of essentially like giving back. Like same with like when you put the ball down, people become coaches, trainers, agents, whatever the case may be. That's another example of like really stepping into, because I'm sure when you graduated and got your psychology degree, you didn't think like it was going to go to being a qualified mental health professional later on down in
I
Houston.
never
Like,
thought of any of that. Like I
that's
was a sophomore in college and I was undecided. I didn't even have a major or anything. Like I said, my roommate who was like one of my best friends at college at the time. Shout out to my man Z. If you go back and watch this, or if you want his Z, definitely was my guy when I was up in Pennsylvania at school. I asked him, I'm like, bro, my advisor telling me like I need to declare a major. Like I'm about to be a upperclassman next year and I don't have no major. Like what am I going majoring? Like what do I want to learn about or get into for the rest of my life? And he was like, bro, why you don't just do psychology? And I asked him, I'm like, what is psychology? He like, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, what is it though? And he like, why people like think the way they think and why people act the way they act and stuff like that. And once he said that, like I kind of started to get into it. Once I moved down here, I like Will said I was a registered behavior technician, so I had to get that certification. I had to get RBT certified. I was a substitute teacher for a little while. I was a full-time teacher for a little while. And then, yeah, I got my qualified mental health professional certification and became a QMHP. And I've been doing that ever since. I love it. I love being able to help other people that come from, inner city, like where we come from, and, just be vulnerable with them and let them know, like, the storm does pass, as long as you put in the work that you're supposed to put in and you got faith in yourself that, things will get better and stuff like that. So I just kind of want to bring it around full circle one last time before we wrap up. This is Finance Friday. So a couple of words that I want to share with you guys is throughout the whole time we were talking, I hope that y'all paid attention to, and I'm just, touching back on the letter where she was asking about us having an identity crisis and stuff like that. So my response would be, if you feel as though you're having an identity crisis, whether you are an athlete and you transition into another part of your life, or you finish in college, or you're going into a different career, or just a different direction in general, my advice would to be get out here and recreate yourself. That's how I look at people like Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart and all these people who we've been watching, like different celebrities and stuff who've been doing maybe one thing and then 10 years later they still going. So like reinvent yourself. Don't be afraid to get out here and go get your CDLs. Don't be afraid to get out here and get a HVAC or go into a trade school. Don't be afraid to move back in with your parents in order to save up, a significant amount of money to put yourself ahead. Like, don't be afraid. So my advice would just be, don't be afraid. And we in a time where people, you can make millions of dollars from streaming off, like just turning on your camera at home. So try it. Whatever that idea you have, try it. Whatever that thought that God put in your head, He put it there for a reason. Research, get online, find out some information about it, and reinvent yourself. You don't need to have an identity crisis. I mean, it will happen, but make sure that keep your faith, stay focused, stay confident, keep talking to God, and yeah, reinvent yourself. Just don't be afraid.
Nah, for real, bro. That's a beautiful way to put it. I definitely say the same thing. And then challenge I had with myself when we first had started EyeAm Brand, and then just in certain things is like, don't wait for the perfect time, perfect your effort. And when I say that, I mean like go as hard as you can and trying to get it done, and then worry about how the best way to put it. And I'm not telling y'all to just put out BS or whatever like that, but I'm saying like focus on the now. Like, and I feel like that's a lot of people do, especially athletes, because we always looking at the next big thing, or former athletes or people who have big dreams, is always looking at the future. Yes, not telling you to not write your goals down and have your checklist and all that, not that down, but also like appreciate your now. Like, it's a saying that I also love. I got into probably like I think a year or so, maybe a couple years ago. It's like, be where your feet at. Like, I like appreciate the moment you're in right now. Yeah, it might not be where you want to be, but you gotta appreciate it. It's this coworker I have every day I walk past when I do my little thing, as far as like security, patrol and everything. And I grabbed this B affirmation. I grabbed it twice. I tried to give it back to her. He's like, no, you need to keep that. It's a reason you have that. And it said pretty much like, be happy with who you are now and something like that. I'm like, nah, I need more than that. She's like, no, I think you should take that. Like, you should really understand what that's saying. And then like I'm starting to put two and two together as I'm speaking it out right now loud. It's like maybe there was a reason of like God telling me like you doing a good amount now. Yes, we're gonna give you more, but appreciate where you at right now and then just take it day by day.
Yeah, I couldn't say it no better, man. Trust the process. Like that's one thing that me transitioning from an athlete to and honestly, if I'm being honest, like I remember sitting in the sauna with one of my other college, like my best friends for real. God rest his soul, he passed away as well. But I remember sitting in the sauna with him, and I'm talking to sports agents to go overseas and play basketball. And like I said, trust that thought that God put in your head. As much as I missed the game of basketball, I don't know where this thought came from, how it happened, or what. But God just told me like I just wanted to get into the business world. Like I knew like he just told me like instead of going overseas to play basketball, like I go get into the real world. So that's what made me, want to move out here to Texas, move to Houston, get around like-minded entrepreneurs, start to, learn a little bit about the real estate and things like that. And I just wanted to get into the business world. So yeah, that's how that kind of went. Um, and yeah,
What's that last
you
comment?
got any quick hits for him? Oh, we do got a comment. My guy Mill said facts. And sometimes you got to put that pride to the side. Definitely got to put that pride to the side, bro. Like, and life out here, having a pride ain't gonna get you nowhere. Just like, ain't nobody gonna come and be like, oh, you don't want to. Nobody cares about that. You can have pride all you want to, and your pride gonna be stuck in the way until you learn to let that pride go. And you just gotta trust the process, man. Just understand that wherever you at in life, write your plan down, look yourself in the mirror and say, this is not gonna be my end journey. Like I'm gonna make an impact out here some way and find your way to, make an impact on others and help others out.
Nah, bro, beautiful. I ain't gonna lie. Absolutely. Quick hits, I give a little, like my little phrases. Definitely say embrace your journey. Like, whether you at the top of the mountain at that time or you sitting low, you feel like you don't know what to do, keep going. Like, regardless of what's going on, keep going. And then how we all go through storms and they say the storm passed, learn how to dance in the rain. Like,
Yes,
even
sir.
during them tough times, there's people like prime example, the homeless people we know, they one of the least fortunate people. But every day what they doing? They getting up, they trying to find out how to feed themselves. Every day you gotta get up, especially if you got a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on your table. Every day get up and then try to be a better you than you was yesterday. That's the least you could do for yourself and for those who look up to you.
Yeah, I think that's a great quick hit. Man, even my quick hit from last Friday, I said, whatever you're going through, just keep going. Like Will said, don't stop, just keep going. It's going when it rains, it pours, but learn how to dance in the rain. Just keep going. Whatever you do, don't just be stagnant. Try something. If it don't work, try it a different way. Try a different key. Try it another way. And if that don't work, try something else. Just keep trying. Like don't give up. Don't give up. Um, and of course, as always, don't forget to check on y'all strong friends. Reach out to people. As y'all
Thanks.
see through our journey, have been so many people who they might not even know that they was a big help to us, but just reaching out, having that one conversation, or even you're not having a conversation, you just being that listening ear to somebody. You never really know how much of an impact you can have on them. So reach out to somebody this weekend. Check on your strong friends. I'll have a finance quick hit for y'all next week when Dr. Ebony returns. And we appreciate y'all every Friday for coming on here, man. Thank y'all. We know it's the weekend, and y'all could be anywhere else, but y'all here listening to us, giving us feedback. And I just want to let y'all know that that's don't go overlooked, and we extremely appreciative. So don't forget to check on y'all strong
Thanks.
friends. I appreciate you again, Will. Thank you for always being
Of
there whenever I
course,
need you,
man.
brother. And we'll see y'all
Come
again
on, brother.
Friday. Appreciate
Yes,
y'all.
sir. Appreciate y'all for having me. And yes,
Yes,
Dr. MacArthur will be back next week. Everybody tune in as well. We definitely
yes.
gonna keep doing our thing, man. Appreciate y'all. Yes, sir.